is a project that really is community driven. You know, Bitcoin started out as community driven, and then it kind of got a little corporate, and now it's like BlackRock coin. I'm still holding though, for sure, but it's not what it set out to be in my view, which was more revolutionary. This is a project that it has the metrics and the systems built in place for it to remain a community project. And it's much more than just a currency to exchange goods and services. It's really a tool to accelerate all of this cool freedom stuff that we're doing. And we are really grateful that they are partnering with the Freedom Cell Network to create a platform where the Freedom Cell project can be accessible in a completely decentralized way that can't be shut down or censored. So really excited to share more about that project and how you guys can be a part of it as well. But without further ado, let's bring on Jason and Mike of the Qortal project. What's up, guys? How are y'all?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Johnny boy?
Yeah, so we're really excited to have you guys here presenting, and we're even more excited about this partnership that we've launched with Qortal and the Freedom Cell Network. So I understand you guys have a presentation. You want to share more about the project and how people can get deeper involved?
Yeah, we are kind of flow organically, John. We don't have an official presentation, but we're here to get everybody updated with where Qortal is now, sort of where we are in terms of our growth since we presented. God, was that 3 years ago? We haven't quit. And like you were saying, yes, it is a community-driven project. There's no VC involved. There's no Silicon Valley. There's no capitalization at all. There's no financialization from any big firms or anything. And that's very important because Qortal from the very beginning has been designed to be protected against that securitization that Bitcoin's seeing, that all of crypto's seeing, because this isn't a crypto project. This isn't even like a traditional blockchain project. This is literally a replacement of the internet. And back in 2000, what was that, 17 or 18, when I started working with Jason, I remember him telling me, hey, I'm working on this thing. It's to replace the internet. And I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, the internet is the internet. Why do we need to replace it? And he was already way ahead of the game explaining like where all of this centralization was coming from in Silicon Valley, with the technological industrial complex, with the financial industrial complex, with the military industrial complex. And I started opening up my mind because I was seeing the power of blockchain and like the ability to have no middlemen and transparency and all this beautiful stuff around blockchain. But I was sort of like, you know, the baby with the new toys and not seeing all the danger that was coming out of essentially centralizing blockchains, which and using financialization and corporatization and the military industrial complex and all this stuff to essentially take all the beauty that blockchain can offer and turn it into a literal control paradigm, a matrix that we are now seeing. Like, we are seeing it unfold with things like the Genius Act, and we'll see where the Clarity Act goes. And in this sort of hyper digitalization of the world, we are starting to see now how that is really coming to unfold as a reality, as we have this sort of stable coin, emergence that the U.S. government's pushing, that the U.S. will be the leaders of crypto. Well, that's all to really bring us to what Jason was seeing as a sort of prison system way back in the day. So we haven't stopped working. And basically the whole point of Qortal is to do it right, to stick with first principles of decentralization, with the cypherpunk sort of mentality of not ever going centralized in terms of how we're capitalized, how we're financialized, how the network is run. It is truly P2P, node to node. And of course, what we talked about last time when we were with you guys on stage there in Texas is that the consensus is time driven. It's not run by proof of work or proof of stake. And that's a really important to understand, because that ties to nature, that allows for a true decentralization where you can't get control over the consensus via fiat money, via a military industrial complex taking over mining, etc. It really distributes it across time, which nobody can control. So I'm very excited about where this project has been going. The community has just been plugging away, and we've really come a long way since we presented back, what was that, in 2022, Jason, haven't we?
Yeah, so we have been in a massive state of development for the last couple of years, especially. And we are to the point now to where I can firmly say that we're almost at the final stage of the project's development, the final milestone, which is huge. And as you know, we've talked about this before. The last component is to have a mesh network, which will allow us to get away from IP addresses on the internet and to allow us to have a completely separate sovereign infrastructure. And that is something that we are developing now, and it's being implemented as we speak. But what we are currently working on the DevNet and is being rolled out as Qortal version 6.0, which is going to be very, very exciting, is a massive improvement to the speed of QDN and the underlying networking, which will allow us to basically max out connection speeds, which means that when we have all this decentralization and you've got a website or an application that you're accessing, each node that accesses it duplicates it. So on the internet, you're dealing with a server and everyone accessing that server. So you've got to deal with the speed of that one server serving the data to everyone. On Qortal, we've taken the internet and flipped it on its head. Every single person that accesses data makes another redundant copy of it. So now with the new maxing out of the connection speeds, we are literally going to be able to be faster than Web 2.0, which is huge. And we are going to be able to build things like real-time data. So for calls and things like we're doing right here, we will be able to do that on Qortal with no servers, no middlemen, and nothing in between at all, right? All P2P. Now, this is the key, right? You've got to get rid of any middlemen in between any interaction on your digital world. And that is what Qortal does. We have removed all middlemen from the scenario. So you, as a normal person, can come and do what you do on your computer on a regular basis on Qortal with no middlemen involved at all. And we have now replacements for apps like X or Twitter. We have a replacement for that called Quitter, which is hilarious. And there are many, many other apps that are developed now on Qortal. So people come into Qortal and they don't really like start digging in. You guys need to dig in. That is what the key is. And we've now got the Freedom Cell onboarding and a new onboarding method that will allow you to get set up on the network really easily. So there's no excuse anymore. We need people, we need users to come and join the network. This is the only way that we can free ourselves from what we've seen for many years coming down the pipe. Everyone sees it, everyone talks about it, but then that point where you need to do something about it, it seems to get lost on a lot of people. Now, we have made it so simple to get rid of that concern. And that is what we need to do. And so we need all of you, everybody who hears this, to come and join the network. Like Mike was saying earlier, it is a community-based project. This means that you need to come join us, join the community, and help us to get rid of the problems in the digital world. No more hacks, no more data theft, no more holding data hostage. All of these things, because of the way that Qortal is built, not possible, right? So on top of making everything a lot better, we have secured it and make it so that you don't have to worry about all the things you have to worry about on the internet, right? So this is a massive thing, guys, and we really need all of the users from the internet to come over to Qortal and help us grow, right?
Well, that's the thing, Jason, is a lot of people are sealing their fate through their addiction to convenience. And that is by plan. That is by design. You will own nothing and be happy through your convenience of your smartphone. And with Qortal, what's such a different paradigm, of why it changes the game so much, is literally you own all the data that you choose to follow. So it is a different mindset. It does require a bit of hard drive space, but that's okay. Thanks to Moore's law, hard drive space it's deflationary, and it's pretty easy to own a 4 terabyte drive these days.
Most people have way more free space on their computer than they'll ever know what to do with, right? So why not put that to use in actually owning your digital world, right?
Well, what's funny too is I live sort of more, not off grid, but I live in the mountains and I don't have the greatest internet at times. And so I can't tell you how frustrated I am when I'm trying to stream a movie late night and all of a sudden it pauses and on Apple or Netflix or whatever, because my internet is shaky, when I just am yelling at the screen, why can't I just download you? Well, in Qortal, that's how it works. So essentially you own anything that you follow and anything that you watch or on any of the apps. And what's powerful about that is, like you said, we're creating redundant copies of the disappearing internet. Many of you have probably heard of this theory of the disappearing internet. And that is by design as well. So this is all about taking back ownership of our data, ownership of the world, because I know a lot of people, I do a lot of these events and festivals and stuff, and a lot of people that are at this, I'm sure they're in beautiful Mexico, and I wish I could be there with you guys instead of in the cold Pacific Northwest. However, if all goes well with Qortal this year, Jason and I will be there in person onboarding people next year in Morelia, eating tacos with you guys. But I know a lot of you are like, oh God, it's tech day. It's tech day. They're going to talk about, nerdy tech coding stuff. Meanwhile, what's going on is literally how many of you have a phone in your pocket? How many of you are involved with this tech on the daily, even if you're a farmer, even if you're trying to do your homestead? That is the nature of this world. And why not embrace something that is designed like Qortal to be more organic, to be more in alignment with natural law, to be in the private? That's what I love about Qortal so much, and why I try to tie it to, the everyday existence here outside of, I'll let Jason talk about the techie stuff, which is important, but I want to talk to those who are sick of their smartphone, are sick of being constantly pulled into these centralized systems, which is by design, because in a debt system, which is what is controlling the world as we speak, the debt system innately will collapse because it must continue to have growth. It's an never-ending growth cycle, but nature doesn't work that way. Nature is regenerative, right? So what they've done is they're hyper digitized the world, bringing us into a virtual environment so they can continue this debt system to perpetuity. This is something that's never been done before. They're figuring out how to stop the debt from collapsing by shuffling everybody into this hellscape virtual environment that is centrally controlled. What Qortal does is it gives us an off-ramp out of that so that we can continue to communicate, we can continue to do commerce, we can continue to enjoy the fruits of the internet, which allows us to connect across time and space, to share ideas, to share media and creativity and art without having to be there physically in person. That has been a renaissance. And so they're trying to close down on that, use it to continue the debt system, and so that we can essentially become feudal serfs in this new neo-feudal digitized world. Well, Qortal is the complete solution for that, because it allows us to have an agorist market that will allow you to sell your products, whether that be from your farm or from the art that you create, etc. And maybe we can show that briefly today. It'll allow you to do everything the internet does. It'll allow you to share your videos that you own and that those who follow you own. It allows you to have completely encrypted and private email conversation that the NSA can't listen to. That's point-to-point encrypted with no middlemen, no email servers involved, right? It allows you to create communities on there and have flowing chats just like you would have on Telegram or Discord and these, but that are encrypted and secure. So it's already there. And as Jason said, we just need people to start to realize that this matters. That I know a lot of you don't want to talk about tech. You don't want to deal with it, but literally you are using it on the daily, unless you happen to be one of those really awesome, special old school people that aren't. And props to you. But generally, we are using that day to day, and they're just going to continue to ramp up that siloing us into these centralized systems for that. We've all heard about it. The digital ID, the social credit score, that's being corporatized in the West, and that's being funneled through the stable coins and all that. That's happening, and that has to happen through the traditional internet. So that's why Qortal matters so much right now.
And a lot of the other so-called decentralized projects are straight up lying. And that's another thing that's very difficult for me personally to get the differences across to others about what is different about Qortal, right? Because they'll hear all these other things. Oh, this other thing is decentralized and it was nonsense and it was built into the browser and da 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 da. No, guys, a lot of these other things have just, I think that they were kind of built to do this, is to kind of bastardize the terminology of the blockchain space and the decentralized space so that people don't understand what anything is anymore. And as I sit here today, I have seen countless projects, thousands of them, and not a single one actually does everything in a decentralized fashion. Qortal is the only one. And so, and that is a huge thing. And none of them can allow you to register a single name, have that name that then publishes a website, applications, public and private data. You can use it as a domain name. You can use it as a username, and you own every single piece of data that you publish underneath it. You can do whatever you want with it forever. You don't have to pay continual hosting fees. You don't have to pay continual fees for anything. And in the future, with the mesh network, we're going to get to the point where your connection can pay you. You can become a mentor on Qortal, and your connection can pay you instead of you paying your connection. So we are literally flipping all of this nonsense on its head entirely, but yet still allowing you to run and do everything that you do on your normal computer on a daily basis the same way, right? And what Mike was talking about with the power usage and that, and all of on that kind of thing, right? These kinds of devices, small handheld devices, can run the entire network. You can run this on a 25-watt solar panel if you wanted to, and devices like this can run the entire network. So that is another thing where we don't require huge power costs either to run the network, and that has to go hand in hand with nature, right? So it is really, really important for everyone to kind of start understanding the differences between what we have on Qortal and what is going on the current internet, right? All of this stuff, oh, click here and you can do this really easily. There's power behind that, right? And they're taking power from you.
Massive data centers sucking up incredible amounts of water and energy so that you can jump onto ChatGPT and have a little discussion at night about your favorite movies or whatever. And that's fun. That's whatever. That's convenient. But what is that leading to, right? When we can run our own, we can talk about AI, maybe decentralized AI, our own LLMs, right, on Qortal, and have it powered through the distributed network. And that's like the important understanding here is it's distributing the power across all the nodes, just like nature does in a forest, right? It's distributed across all the trees through the mycelium network. There's not like central power hubs in nature running everything. I mean, you do have the sun, but yeah, very solar punk. I know a lot of you are familiar with that term. It's a very solar punk concept, right? Where we literally be a farmer or homesteader and be on the network via a Raspberry Pi, like Jason was showing, that doesn't cost much. It doesn't take much power to be able to come in and at least do your general activities that you want to do, which is have secure communication, do some commerce, have a little bit of online community without being tracked and traced and surveilled, and leasing all the data and selling your basically your digital self into a network that's creating a digital twin of you, so that it can formulate once again that that virtual reality panopticon of control and financialization and tokenization, as they want to tokenize every physical asset now to further the debt system. That goes all out the window with Qortal. It's a holistic digital environment where everybody has equity, everybody has ownership based upon the amount of time that you put into the network, and it has its own, yes, it has its own currency. And the powerful thing here is, Jason, we were talking about this a bit on our Q-mail back and forth yesterday, that we're here to support Bitcoin. Right, Bitcoin does have some power to it in that it is an extremely valuable saving asset. And with the proof of work, even though, we chuckle about how there's like 6 or 7 mining pools that are basically running all of the mining now. And
it was a great proof of concept, right? And the original idea behind Bitcoin was really, really good. And the thing about it is that it kept trending toward more centralized control, and that is where the problem came in. And plus, it only has the ability to transact value, right? And with the limited supply, it makes it a really good digital gold. And so that is what it is, right? And trying to make it into something else, it's just not built for that. And so that is what Qortal provides, and Qortal can be the infrastructure for Bitcoin to have a lot more, right?
Yeah, it's an amazing asset, and it should stay single layer. And unfortunately, for it to be more like a currency, it has to go second and third layer. And the problem with that is when you're getting into those layers, you're dealing with, once again, corporatization. You're dealing with literally corporations creating apps that have then infrastructure that relies on the World Wide Web and the traditional internet. And then you have shareholders, and you have direct ties to fiat capital that requires that. Even if you're being financialized through Bitcoin, Bitcoin has inherently now been derivatized and financialized and securitized to the point where the markets will drive those investors crazy when Bitcoin gets dumped and pumped, because it is using Tether to do that. And now with USAT being, through the Genius Act, now we have all this ridiculousness where it's being tied to U.S. securities. And so the U.S. taxpayer is now basically funding this entire operation so that they can buy more gold. I mean, the whole thing is such, anytime that you're now interacting with Bitcoin, and in many ways, unfortunately, you're feeding the beast, which is a huge bummer. But that being said, we still support Bitcoin. So you have a Bitcoin wallet on Qortal. You can bring your Bitcoin in and have it secured. And then you can P2P cross-chain swap that to court to use as the currency versus the US dollar. So
right.
And every asset needs a currency for value. There must be price discovery, right? There needs to be a unit of account. There needs to be a medium of exchange. Bitcoin needs second and third layers to be a medium of exchange. Qort doesn't. Qortal is a single layer operating system, which that means it is truly P2P. It doesn't require additional layers on top of it. That's really important to understand. And so when you can cross-chain to Qort, now you have a utility, true coin, that is essentially finding its value, finding its price, not only through commerce on the system, right? On Qortal, using the different shop Q apps and stuff where people are selling physical products using Qort. But also think of this, a currency that's running the future P2P private and like true freedom internet. Like that is a lot of value, because you need Qort to do things like comment and, all the little microtransactions.
Publish data, publish apps,
data,
all of it.
exactly.
And so it literally powers the infrastructure. And so that's where the value comes from, right?
I just want to say this one point, Jason. I'll turn over to you.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you rather have a currency that is finding value running essentially the new base infrastructure of a true internet, versus a currency that's being manipulated, pumped and dumped, printed on demand, and all the nonsense of both fiat and like Tether and all these stable coins, which can be programmed and manipulated and have no true value. Like that value is based upon the market and, casino money, versus a value that is finding its true source of value through meaning, through like, I enjoyed this video that you put out, and so I'm going to to put a comment on that, which is going to cost me a little bit of court, right? Or
I'm
it's
going
like
to send you some in a super like, because I liked your comment. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a whole new paradigm. It's a whole new way of thinking about how we interact with each other, how we use the internet, and yeah, it's still so ahead of its time, but very, very, very quickly, the world is thrusting people to find Qortal.
And so I put up a link. I'm not sure if they can share that on the screen, but Qortal.dev/onboarding. Or if you are from the Freedom Cell network, you can do Qortal.dev/Freedom Cell. And that will take you to the onboarding process that I mentioned earlier. And this will walk you through getting set up on Qortal. You guys there with your phones now, if you have an Android phone, go to Qortal.dev. We have an Android native application now. So you guys can actually join Qortal on your phone if you want to, right? So we have come a long way with developments. The new interface Qortal Hub makes accessing and using Qortal a lot easier. It's a lot newer, nicer interface. Makes everything a lot smoother and faster. And with the upgrades we're doing for Qortal version 6.0, things are about to get incredibly fast, and I'm very excited about that. So we will not have to sacrifice anything. When you're used to dealing with the speeds of the internet, people come to Qortal and then have to wait a couple minutes for a video to download. If it's a large video, they're like, oh, this takes forever, right? We're about to cut that time in fractions. We have actually gone 10 to 15 times faster on our tests, sometimes even faster than that. Depends on, we can literally now max out connection speed. So it's very exciting for me as a developer. This is a huge milestone for the project.
This will make the QTube experience so much better, you guys, for you. Those
absolutely.
Are familiar, like the
yeah. Oh, and we got casting working. So now you can take and play a video on QTube and cast it to your TV. So that was an exciting thing we did the other day too.
And
yeah,
ideally, so I just want to say one thing, Jason, go ahead. With the Android app and stuff. I mean, obviously we are making some concessions for adoption. However, you know, we obviously recommend you'd use a de-Googled phone, like an above phone, right? And, you know, to access that. But essentially with that, you're still working with your node, and it's still decentralized in that sense, but we are making some concessions because we need adoption. Like we said, we need users coming into the ecosystem, because with every new user, the network gets stronger. So really important for people to be able to access it, because that is a reality. A lot of people are busy right now due to the stress of this world and are on their smartphones. So now Qortal is much easier to access via Qortal Go, which is a really cool extension that works on the Brave browser or Chrome browser that will allow you to access your node from the convenience of your phone. And then of course, as Jason said, that app, and we are working on light nodes as well that could eventually run on a de-Googled phone.
Right. Yeah. Light nodes will be nodes that do not require synchronizing the chain. So that's going to be necessary for things like a mobile device, because you're not going to want to synchronize the entire chain on a mobile device. But anyways, I wanted to kind of share a video. I don't know if it's a good time to do that. I wanted to show kind of some of the things that are possible to do on Qortal now. So give me just a second, and I'm going to share my screen. If I have window, here we go. Wow, I have too many windows open. I have a lot of windows open. Okay, hold on. Maybe I should have tried to do this before just doing it live, huh? Okay, it's not allowing me to share my screen very easily.
Looks
so
like
that's
okay.
Not cool. I can't find my it's not showing the window that I need. So okay, hold on, that's great. Let me try closing it and reopening it.
Basically what we want to show here is a user created video that is just highlighting all of the cool functionality now available on Qortal, all the different Q apps. It is a fully open source environment where anybody can come in that knows how to code in JavaScript can create beautiful apps.
Here we go.
Okay. And
okay,
so
let me see. Should I make it smaller? Does it look better like that? Okay, hold on. Let's see. So if I go here, and QTube, I actually can.
the one thing this won't show is it won't show the new Freedom Cells Q app.
Right.
But that is something maybe we could highlight towards the end too while we're screen sharing. And that is something that's
right.
very, very exciting that John was talking about before we came on. And to be able to now have to port over your online communities that you might be running on Mighty Networks or Circle or even WordPress, to just have it be completely decentralized. And then also, once again, bringing that community into an ecosystem that is holistic and authentic, that is built around meaning and not built upon scarcity and debt, right? And to have the ability to have that free flow of creative currency, and then to be able to have that seamless connection into all the other Q apps, which we'll show you in a second, really opens up the community to thrive in a way that you just don't have on that more traditional internet where everything's siloed into different servers, into sort of different applications. Imagine having only one login too. Like, how annoying is it? And this is just some practical stuff while Jason's figuring this out.
No, I'm ready to play the video whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to say, how annoying is it that we have to have 1,000 logins and passwords? Like, I use a 1Password app on my, just to be able to access all these different applications online, right? Like, that's what's beautiful is you sign in with your private key into your through your Qortal signature into the interface, and now you're there with your identity, with your name that you can create, and there's no KYC, there's no know your customer, right? Your identity is whatever you want to create in terms of what you want to do on Qortal, and now you can access everything like we're going to show right now.
All right, so this is the authentication process. Takes you to the dashboard, and he goes into Earbump, which is a music playing app, and he does a search for Prodigy and plays a song.
This guy must be in the X gener like me.
Right? I was like, oh, as soon as he played that, can you guys hear the sound?
We're gonna just have to narrate over. I don't think they have sound, which is fine, so we don't get to hear.
Okay, well, it's playing the Prodigy song now.
That's this the other thing too, is the apps will run in the background while you're doing other apps.
Right. So he's opening, you can see here, he's got multiple tabs that he's opening. And this here is QFund, which is a decentralized automated crowdfunding platform powered by ATs on Qortal.
Which just means, explain AT real quick.
So ATs are a smart contract language that is
here. Pause the video, Jason. Can you pause the video real quick because he's flying through stuff, and I think this is a really good tour of what Qortal can do. But it'd be good to just explain that AT.
So yeah, okay. So actually, ATs were the first smart contract language, right? And until Ethereum came and turned smart contracts into something completely different that is not validated by consensus and able to be controlled by admins and all this nonsense. This was the original smart contract language. And what it can do is automate different transactions. It can do very simple things, such as in this case, for QFund, it holds funds that were sent to it. So you create one and you say, this is a QFund for whatever purpose, right? And people can send Qort to it. And then when it gets to the end, there are two different types. One of them, it will either get to the end and get to the max that the person set and pay out to the creator, or it will not get to that and refund. Then there's another one that will just pay out regardless, right? So there are two different types. You can choose which one you create, and you can create that automated decentralized crowdfund, right? So nobody controlling the funds, just an AT that's doing it. And it can only do what you program it to do. And in this case, it's going to either pay out to the creator or refund to the people that donated, and if it meets the goal or not, right? So, yeah. We can do a lot of other things with ATs as well, like decentralized automated escrow and all kinds of other things.
Versus a completely hackable and programmable smart contract like you have on Ethereum with these running all these tokens and billions of dollars of finance, with literally they can reprogram on the fly.
I've seen it to where those tokens disappear from wallets magically without anybody saying anything about their wallet, right? And that is not blockchain. That is not what blockchains are supposed to be, right? If I don't sign a transaction with my private key, nothing can happen on my wallet. That's how a blockchain works. So they've taken it and completely bastardized that concept. And that's what I was talking about earlier with the bastardization of all this that's going on. It's absolutely mind-blowing that this stuff is allowed to continue and that people are okay with it. And it's got so many people that use these things. And I've even tried in multiple different ways to use different things that were so-called on Ethereum. For one, they're not on Ethereum. There's so many different ways that they're not on Ethereum, but I pretended, right? And I tried to use them. Man, they are a nightmare. I've not gotten a single one to be able to work without huge amounts of effort. And it just blows my mind that this is where all of the people in the crypto space are. I do not understand, right? And I don't even like to consider Qortal a crypto anything anymore because it's just been so destroyed. It is not the same at all. Qortal is a new universe. It is not a crypto anything. But yeah, anyway, so do you want me to continue on the video?
Please do.
All right. So yeah, this here. Okay, so what they did, I'll move it backwards just a little bit. So they opened up Q Search, which is a search engine powered by the people, right? You've got to publish the indexes for the search. He searched for Jurassic Park, which obviously people should know what that is.
And just to be clear, that's the search engine across Qortal.
Yes, it is a search engine for things on Qortal. Yep. Goes to the iconic scene in Jurassic Park.
So this is QTube.
QTube.
Which completely replaces YouTube. Which ironically, and we use their tools against them. So yes, the People's Reset is currently on YouTube, but if we do our job right, Jason, the People's Reset can very well be on Qortal next year.
Right. And the recordings can be right now. But yeah, the streaming, the live stuff, absolutely. We should be able to do that by this point next year. Definitely. So it just goes through a couple playlists and so forth that he's got saved on QTube. And as I was saying, the speeds of the loading on all of this is going to be much, much, much faster in Qortal 6.0. But as you can see, it's not all that bad right now. Then he goes to Q Shop, which is a shop application that Mike was talking about earlier. You can come and create, your e-commerce, whatever you want to call it, on Qortal. And there is the Goldback store there where you can trade Qort for Goldbacks. This is a actual dispensary that has come and put their presence on Qortal, which is quite unique. All right.
And I've tested and I've received.
Right. Multiple people have said that it's quite good. Actually, I've not myself, but yeah.
And you can, what's great, if you want to pause it, Jason, real quick.
Sure.
So that's just one iteration of an e-commerce store. Now there's others that are like a Bazaar that's just launched, like an Amazon type interface. This is, once again, guys, this is a fully open source, permissionless ecosystem that anybody can come on and develop apps on, and basically it's a free marketplace. So whatever apps are the best coded with the best interface, like, we're still really early days right now, so a lot of these look rough because a lot of these were actually just proof of concepts that the dev team put out. But if you are an app developer and frustrated with all of the BS you got to deal with whether that be the Apple Store or traditional server costs and hosting costs and all that, come over to Qortal and start having fun. And, we need really kick-ass apps in this. And I think that's going to be a huge, huge part of the future of Qortal, is having that sort of really dynamic e-commerce. I call it Q-commerce ecosystem that will allow people to actually have an agorist, marketplace on there. And, when you do purchase things, you can purchase in the private as well through R currently, through the pirate
you can have an
chain
entire account on Qortal that's completely private, right? Like, so, and I've got multiple accounts. I've got hundreds of accounts, right? Like some of them with varying levels of privacy, right? So some of them, people have no idea they're my accounts, right? And so you can be as private as you like on Qortal overall, right? I wanted to kind of show this too. So these are super likes, and you can see quite a few people here have super liked this video. And so you can actually send court to the content creator in a like this. And we're going to have a lot of other methods too in the future to be able to earn in court for, various different things that you can do on the network. So people thinking that they, aren't going to be able to make a living or whatever on Qortal, you absolutely can, by being a content creator or by being a developer or by being all kinds of different things, selling your wares or whatever you want, right? Like it's definitely possible right now for us to replace 90%, if not more, of what is done on the internet. So
there's a new Substack like Q app being launched soon that will allow for authors and content creators to create a subscription model like you would do on Patreon or Substack, which is really exciting.
And that's going to tie in very well with Twitter, which I just opened. And I'll show you that more here in a second. I also opened up the Freedom Cell Community Network app. And now we have some milestones here. So if you guys are from the Freedom Cell Network, we only need a few more people here to join, and we will build the geography component for the Freedom Cell app. But this app is just a basic application that allows for announcements to be made to the network. It also allows for threads, which are essentially, you can think of it like a Reddit-like forum to be posted, and there are actually quite a few there. There are also messages. This is a completely encrypted messaging system that actually has encrypted identifiers too, which means that people can't look at the transactions on Qortal and figure out who is messaging whom. So that's actually a really cool, unique application that's built into the current Freedom Cell app. As you can see, there are quite a few threads here that people have created. And you can go into those and communicate with those people or create your own very easily just right here. So that is the current iteration of the Freedom Cell Network application. But once we get a few more people here to join, then we will be building the geography component. And once we get 100 or so more, we will do the full Freedom Cell Q app. So yeah, if you guys are part of the Freedom Cell Network, please join to make that next milestone complete for the Freedom Cell Network. And I'll go back here. So now
Can I just say one thing,
ahead.
Jason? That geography concept's really powerful because once again, we're tying back into the real world, and to be able to have a secure place to find each other, and to do it in a way that's not being tracked and traced on the traditional web is important, because we do need to tie into the physical world. We do need to meet like you're doing in Morelia, Mexico. We do need to continue to be human in the natural organic world. Qortal is just to facilitate this across time and space. The idea here is that we're not trying to become like this virtual space. Like, we are trying to be, sort of like what I envision with like what I'm doing. We're trying to do with Music and Sky and building the Music and Sky Village, is having these nodes of these villages all across the realm connected through Qortal, so that we can do commerce and have conversation and communication across time and space, but in our own little physical pods. So very solar punk in that idea. So that geography element, which made Freedom Cell so unique back in the day, will just be so much more secure and powerful on Qortal than on the traditional internet.
Absolutely. And so I was also just scrolling through Twitter here, so you guys can see this is literally just like an exact clone almost of Twitter or X, but ours is actually a lot better because there's no limitations on the length of publishes. We can obviously tie videos directly to videos published on QTube or anywhere else on Qortal. You can have the same kind of hashing and trending and stuff like that, but there's no algorithm deciding which stuff gets displayed. That's all done by the user. So it's
no shadow
display whatever's published. Yeah. So it's a massive way for you to get off of the internet and get over to something that is not going to be controlling your every move and taking the data that you give them by accessing their things, which is not a thing on Qortal either. That metadata simply doesn't exist. And they are using that to control you. So let's get away from that and move on to something that does not do that. This is a way to do that, right? So we'll go back over here. Now this part of the video, they're going to, this is QTrade. This is the trading platform, or one of the trading platforms that exists. And you can go here to trade the 6 supported coins right now directly for Qort cross-chain. This is an app called Q Bubbles, which takes a second to load because there's a lot of data. But this app shows all of the minters on the network, and it will display them like this in a bubble format. So you can see who's earning more based on their bubbles. And as you can see, the distribution for Qortal is very equal and very good, right? So we don't have like you have on most other projects where you've got a few people at the top that are earning way more than everybody else. On Qortal, it's very distributed and very even.
Once again, that's based on, if you want to pause it, Jason, that's really important. That's based on time. So that is a leveling system based upon how long you've been supporting the network, running a full node and taking part in consensus. And that is important because that's a huge securitization element to Qortal, unlike proof of work, which is sort of real time in terms of how much fiat money or legacy Bitcoin you can put into your mining apparatus, or work directly with a technocratic state to provide energy resources to take over mining hash power, right? You can't buy your way into the security here. It's literally securitized through time. So like there are level 7 and level 8 minters that have more weight on the chain because they've literally been involved with the project minting for the last 5 years, or since we launched 5 years. So you can't manipulate time. At least I don't think they have a time machine. So that's a really important idea. And then of course it's not stakeholder capitalism like Ethereum, where you essentially have proof of stake, where you can just buy your weight in now, which is just a terrible idea. So and then we do have sort of an elder group of trusted. There is trust involved with Qortal in that in order to become a mentor, you have to go through a process where you prove yourself through sort of how you interact in the community, how you've commented, if you've posted stuff, to prove you are an actual real person that is a real human, real living man or woman that's here to do to be honorable and to take part in consensus. And then once you're approved, there is basically a group of elders. Well, I like to call it like the elder circle that is can be voted in and out as well.
They're called the Minter admins, and you can see the slightly larger bubbles here. The Minter admins actually get paid for their role as a Minter admin. They are, as Mike was saying, they are earlier members of the community in most cases. They were voted in by the community, and there are 2 different groups on Qortal that are special, if you will, but I don't really like that terminology. But so we've got the dev admins, as you can see, the purple circles here. They are the developers of the project, and there are multiple of them, and they make decisions in group approval format as well. So 40% or more of the developer admins must make decisions together, like for pushing out updates to the network. And the same idea applies to the Minter admins for determining another minter. So you will use an app called Q Mintership to request minting rights, and the Minter admins will decide whether you are, ready for becoming a Minter, and they will vote you in by the same group approval. And this group approval concept is basically like a multi-signature transaction, but a much better type of multi-signature transaction. And we are going to be leveraging that group approval for a lot more in the future. But yeah, I wanted to just point out how balanced the rewards are on the minting on Qortal. So most other projects, you're going to see like 3 massive bubbles and then a bunch of little tiny ones, right? On Qortal, it is very balanced and very even as far as the rewards. Now, the larger ones, obviously the developers and the Minter admins, they get paid for their work, which is fair, right? And the rest are leveled Minters who have just been helping to run the network, right? So if you guys want to become a Minter, all you've got to do is come in, start using Qortal, make publishes here, or make comments on QTube, or anything, literally anything counts as activity on the network. We need people who are actually using Qortal for its replacement internet capability and not just wanting to, make money, which is a term that I really don't like either. Yeah.
Contribute in a real way, because the Minter admins are pretty sharp, and they'll see if you're just trying to spam things and throw things in just to get approval to start minting. That won't cut it. They're pretty sharp with that. But the idea here is it's just about coming and starting to contribute to the network, so that mainly this is a securitization and make sure that bots and stuff aren't coming in to try to hijack and become mentors. So, and this is something I want to stress. Qortal is a living and breathing, evolving ecosystem. And that's what's cool about sort of the leveling system, to allow the governance, is to allow us to evolve over time with new challenges. Unlike something, like Bitcoin is really, in the power of it, of course, too, in a different way, and why it's just a good, solid saving money system, is that it's really hard to change. But Qortal is evolving through its governance, and this allows it to be a breathing, living ecosystem. And so, yeah, that's something that's very unique for a blockchain, but is something that's been proven so far. Haven't had any double spends or any issues security-wise so far, and we don't plan on having any of that in the future because of this time securitization. So, but it also allows us to have levels of weight for voting and to do all sorts of cool things down the line if we do need to evolve and change things.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
So do we have time? They changed the way I was seeing things. Are they? I was just
I think
wondering.
we're good still.
Okay.
I think we still, I don't know. How much more time do we have, John? Is anybody out there?
If they just changed the way it was looking to me, so I was kind of wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long, if we have an hour or what, because Jason and I can talk all day about this. I mean, this is sort of our life, and it's just so exciting to finally see this thing all coming together in a way that we envision. And to be able to have the you guys there, John, you and Derek, to support us and to believe in this, and to have Freedom Cell move over and really start to see this thing grow into a true living network where people are transacting and communicating and sharing in a way that's holistically driven and secure, is just it really brings a smile to my face, my brother.
And you bring a smile to my face. You too, Jason. Give it up for the Qortal guys. Really incredible community-driven project. So we have less than 10 minutes left. I'd like to take a couple quick questions. And if we could try to answer the questions as quickly as possible, maybe we could fit in 2 or 3. First, I do want to share, though, give it up once again for Jason and Mike, because you can tell how much work they're putting into this project.
Not just us. We've got a whole bunch of people
I just
who
want
put
to
a ton of effort in.
What we're going for here is reciprocal. So as you can see, they're building the platform and putting in the work, but we need the community to put in the work, which is far less work than what they're doing, to simply host a node. So let me see a show of hands. How many people have a cryptocurrency wallet? We need to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. How many people feel a little bit overwhelmed by this kind of technology and maybe haven't dabbled? Okay. Of the people that, keep your hands up, put your hand down if you've tried to set up a wallet but had some problems. Okay, so the majority of the people feel a little bit overwhelmed by it, but you haven't tried, and this isn't a give you a hard time kind of, well, it's a little bit of giving you a hard time. I just want to encourage you guys, if you feel uncomfortable with technology and you start to learn these kind of things or set up a wallet or even set up a Qortal node, you may feel some discomfort and there may be some friction, but it's through that friction that you're able to learn. And the beauty of a project like this and a movement like this is that you're not alone. There's people that will lend you a helping hand. So Derek and I hosted a Freedom Cells International Conference call with these two gentlemen, and we helped set up. Couple dozen people got onboarded. I'm going to be hosting another one through Live Free Academy. If y'all want to join that, livefree.academy/newsletter, livefree.academy/newsletter. You can join my daily email newsletter and we'll invite you to that. But you got to try, because you may surprise yourself that it's a little bit easier than you thought, or you'll run into some problems, but that's what life is all about. And you can learn from those problems, or you could seek help from myself, from other tech folks that are involved in the community. So it's a reciprocal deal, and we need more folks to set up and host a node, which I finally did just a week ago. So trying my best to practice what I preached a couple weeks ago, right?
John,
let's take a couple questions. Come up here to the stage. And thanks again, Jason and Mike. Really appreciate you guys and excited about this project. All right, we got all the questions. We got 3 here. Only these 3. We're running out of time, guys. So yeah. So come to the session. We'll do multiple things too. We'll do another Freedom Cell one. I'll make sure you guys hear about it if you're on the Greater Reset list or join the email newsletter for Live Free Academy. All right, what's your cue?
Hey, yeah, loving this platform. I'm wondering if there's plans in the future for creating nodes within nodes. So you've got this whole Qortal network, and thinking like the PMA kind of mindset, like if I were to create my own network of just my community, is that an aspect? Because I'm also thinking of security aspects as well, like who's all getting into Qortal. I don't have necessarily control over that, but I can control who enters my PMA.
Groups.
Yes.
Is that clear enough?
Great. You want me to take this real quick, Jason? Because
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
okay, so I love that. We are huge fans. Can you hear me, John?
Yes.
Okay. We are huge fans of the law and moving into the private. And that is something that I'm actually working with like the Sacred Honor Educational Fellowship and lots of people that are developing the trifecta process that John's probably teased a bit at the event. And so the PMA with the ministry and the trust, Qortal is a perfect digital foundation for that. So we have what's called groups, where you can create your own group, and that can be private, and that would allow you to be an admin and bring in whatever admins you want. And within that, you can have your own community completely connected to a community app that Jason just worked on, that I'll be testing out hopefully this weekend. And then there, yes, you can have your own people come in, and they can literally sign into your PMA there, and essentially be engaging in the private. And what's even cooler is you're not doing commerce through fiat. So you're doing commerce through whether you want to use Qort, or you can create your own asset as well. So you can create your own sovereign asset, which is actually functions more like a coin than a traditional Ethereum token. And so, yes, we have now the capability to work in the private using a digital system.
Absolutely, yeah. You can have public and private groups. You can have them both work together. And the importer that I built recently, I made it so that you can literally just put the name of your community and basically click go, and it'll create a community app branded with your logo and everything, with the logo's colors all over the app, just like the Freedom Cell app there. And it gives you that landing app. And I'm going to continue to improve that as time goes on. But yeah, I wanted to make it as easy as possible for communities like this to be onboarded into Qortal. Absolutely, yeah.
Great question.
Okay. Yep. All right, we got 2 more questions. So we're going to need the elevator pitch answer. Come on up, ask your question.
I think you might have partially addressed my question. I have a retail business established 20 years. We've got clientele who would be interested in migrating into the private. So it would be it would be parallel. We continue to do the fiat side, but do private as well. A lot of this is over my head, but I have a young manager who will get this. And the other aspect of this is that we've got hundreds of products, but some of them need to be locally specific. So we don't want to be drawing in, people who want to buy from us that we can't deliver to or don't have the appropriate solution. Is this what I'm looking for?
So yes. So there are multiple different apps right now that exist that you can create your presence for a store, right? And one of those that I'm actually helping to develop further right now is built as a design from someone who helped or contracted me to help them build it. And that does allow you to put in a location and you can search by location. And that is another app that is allowing this kind of thing to happen. So you can absolutely do that now with multiple different apps that exist on Qortal, or you can build your own app that you can make function however you like. And I would be happy to assist you in getting to that point. So yes, this is the parallel thing that you are looking for. This is the only parallel network that exists in the world as far as I've found. And yeah, this can absolutely facilitate that for you.
No tie to fiat, no contracting with the B system, right? So basically you would, to come on and do commerce, they would need to come in with, like, we would say Litecoin. So you do need to come in with some other sort of cryptocurrency. And then you would be able to trade that for Qort, and or they could just start minting and earning Qort. There's lots of ways to earn Qort, but they would use Qort to purchase your products, or you could turn on your store to maybe take R, or I'd like to get Xano, and we could talk about Xano, getting Xano in Qortal for privacy stuff. So that we just have to keep that in mind. There's no fiat onboarding. There's no off ramps to fiat at all.
Right. Yeah. We cannot trade with someone that is centralized. Yeah.
Okay, sorry guys, we got to be super quick with this last question. One more question real quick, and then we're going to wrap up.
I don't know if I'm understanding this in any depth, but I see this as a replacement for the regular internet. And I want to know if there's any difference in the EMF signature or footprint using Qortal than in using the internet as we know it.
Great question.
Yeah, do you want to take that one, or you want me to do it?
So this is it's hard to answer this quickly because, okay, so currently Qortal is using the traditional telecom technological infrastructure of the internet. In other words, all the landline, all the funnels and everything have been laid across the Wi-Fi, etc. But it's funny, we've been talking about a couple things. One, with the mesh network, having a more low bandwidth EMF signature there, and then developing frequencies. And I have friends that are in this world that would, if you've heard of Rife technology and stuff, that would actually be much more beneficial in sort of how they resonate and how they transfer data. And then two, going back to more landlines and stuff, if we do our job correctly, and this is going to maybe blow some minds, but we do our job correctly and allow for the old system to fall apart and allow for this to really, this holistic economy to explode, we will buy up all of that infrastructure and we will harmonize it using Oregon and whatever we need to do to try to make it more beneficial. So that is something that we talk about and that we are very aware of, the dangers of the EMF stuff.
Yeah, I would like to see beneficial frequencies be what power the mesh network in the future. Right now, we've got to work with what we have available to us now. I've also heard light technologies that you can connect via light. So there are a lot of things coming that will assist us in this final goal, but we're not quite to that point yet. That's going to be over the next year or so, and continuing forward from that point.
All right, give it up for Qortal, ladies and gentlemen. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. And we got a new tagline, Qortal, the blockchain you've been looking for.